Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are very excited at ADA to present to you our new platform, Reach.
We'll highlight some of the most common challenges and marketers face in Cambodia today and outline how Reach will help you reach further, target better, and ultimately increase the effectiveness and success of your marketing campaigns. Good morning, I'm Jimmy and I will be moderating today's discussion. I'm the regional CEO of the Phoebus Group and a marketing services and a digital commerce technology company operating in Indochina for the past 18 years. And here with me are Hubert and the vendor from ADA.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hubert. I am the country director of ADA. I set up the ADA office here in Cambodia about a year and a half ago. And my passion is to create future-ready marketing programs.
Good morning, everyone. This is Davanda. I am the business development lead at ADA. I have vast experience of product development in enterprise market, including rich telecom experience.
Okay, let's start off with this webinar today. I think today we'll discover how marketers can leverage on data and technology solutions to achieve better results on their company's sales and marketing performance. So let's start with Hubert. Hubert, could you tell us a little bit more about ADA and what are some of the key challenges and opportunities you observe working with top brands here in Cambodia?
Yeah.
And also, what do brands here list as their key challenges?
Yeah. So ADA is a data and artificial intelligence company that designs and executes digital analytics and marketing solutions. Okay. And we partner with the largest brands in Cambodia to drive their digital and their data maturity. So in short, what that means is we deliver business insights. We delve deep into consumer insights and we create data-driven creative campaigns around that. And we execute performance campaigns as well. So all of this is backed by our data footprint. So we have about 375 million consumer profiles in the region where we derive our insights from, and that includes Cambodia. So Cambodia for us is a super exciting space to be in. It is a country in flux. It's an emerging market, and we see digital penetration is increasing. And for many marketers and for marketing businesses like ourselves, it's a great place to be. Yeah. At the same time, being an emerging market, there are challenges. Some of the challenges that we have observed with the brands that we work with is for starters basically the ability for them to reach their consumers. We know that digital, even though it's growing, it still has a relative limited reach of about 10 million. We know TV is even less, whereas the population is bigger. And brands ask themselves, how do I basically leverage the fact that everyone has a smartphone in the country? And how do I get smarter around that? The other opportunity that we're seeing is essentially around choosing the right media channels to reach the consumers in the market. I think Cambodia is a market where a lot of marketers are very focused on Facebook, are very focused on TV, and for good right, because they have performed in the past. But at the same time, data tells us that the more channels that you add to your media mix, the higher the ROI becomes of your campaigns. So we do see that there is still more opportunity for marketers to tap into more consumer touch points as compared to what they had done historically already. And with that information, we have built our new platform, Reach, in partnership with Smart Axiata. It is essentially Cambodia's first mobile marketing platform that leverages telco analytics.
Right. Okay, yeah, that's interesting indeed, because I think now more than ever, the mobile phone is the only device which every adult in Cambodia has, right? And it's probably the only device that's always on, so to speak.
Yeah.
So on this note, I understand that ADA Reach is a platform that brings telco inventory to brands that's leveraging on SMS, which actually is not something new, right?
Right.
SMS has been around for decades.
Yeah.
So how does ADA still position it as the winning ticket for marketers?
Yeah.
And why should brands buy into it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, so SMS is not something new. It's been in the market. It's been brought to brands before. But the way we are positioning it and the way we are kind of relaunching it as mobile marketing is essentially SMS on steroids. It's SMS 2.0. And it's basically bringing a new product. And the reason why we think that SMS is a winning ticket for your media mix is basically for 4 reasons. One is, and I touched upon this earlier, is just the sheer amount of scale. There are 60 million Cambodians. There are 21 million devices. So there's more devices than people in the kingdom. And you can't reach all of them with Facebook. You can't reach all of them with just TV of out of home, right? So you need other additional channels. The second one is the fact that we have telco analytics integrated into our platform, which basically means that right now we can drive very smart, targeted, real-time mobile marketing campaigns, as opposed to how SMS was done in the past, right? SMS was always blasting to everyone without much intelligence to it. So right now we have changed that, and right now it's becoming relevant. Okay. So number 3 is essentially around, it is more versatile than people think. It is not just only the high reach and the awareness kind of objectives. You can actually do a whole range of different objectives that you would be able to do on Facebook as well, for example. Point in case, we just wrapped up a campaign with a banking customer where we did a lead generation for the saving product for the youth segment. And actually through SMS, we were able to drive over 1,000 qualified leads within the first 3 days of the campaign, right? So it is multiple objective, as well as you can play around with not only text, but visuals and videos, right? So it is more than people think. And basically the last one is responsiveness. So research by Gartner tells us that 80% of all the SMS recipients, they read it within the first 3 minutes, which are great statistics, and I don't think many people know this. So even though it may not sound as the most sexy platform at the beginning, people are talking, like there's all the buzz around Instagram stories and TikTok, and this is not that, but the data does tell us that it is an efficient way to reach a lot of Cambodians in a very targeted manner.
Right, okay. Yeah, I actually agree with you, because I think it's becoming more paramount in this age of hyper-connected consumers that a brand has to present its business as mobile friendly as possible. So let's move on to the next discussion point. What we do know is most marketers are clear about the demographics of their target audience.
Yeah.
But how can they define their audience even further?
Yeah.
How can they really tease out, their key characteristics beyond the usual in order to reach the objectives that they have for their marketing campaigns?
Yeah. So we actually see it as the responsibility of a marketer to really understand their target audience and their potential consumers. As a marketer, that's one of the most important things that you can do, to gather all the insights and to make educated marketing decisions. And frankly, that has to go beyond demographics. It has to go beyond gender and age and location, right? Because we know that they are people, right? So they have lifestyles, they have aspirations, they have ambitions. And you need to understand those as a marketer. And that starts with data and analytics. And those are the A and the D in the ADA acronym. So basically, we focus on that every day, and we collect the richest data sources to come up with the best insights on a daily basis. And specifically for Reach, what we have done is we have partnered with a segment of the industry that has the best analytics, which is telecommunications. So telcos, they have the best information around what do my consumers do, what are their locations, how are they using their devices. That is the strongest information that you can get. And Smart here in the market, they have the bigger subscriber base. So we are tapping into that. So that gives us actually very strong opportunities to not only target demographics, but socioeconomic information, location information, or information around how people use their devices, for example. And all of that you can now target.
I see. So what you're saying is that it is about the data which the telco provides to offer even more insights on the consumers.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So therefore, I think then the biggest benefit of any data-driven marketing campaign is the enhanced ability to create highly targeted campaigns with even personalized messaging.
Yeah.
I've read in a McKinsey study that found that data-driven personalization actually leads to greater ROI on marketing spend.
It's true.
So this, combined with optimal delivery time, actually boosts the overall success of engagement and even effectiveness.
Yeah.
So how can you ensure a high reach for a brand's marketing campaign leveraging on reach?
Yeah. So I mean, reach definitely is one of those pillars that a marketer needs to look at and that they need to focus on, because obviously the more consumers you talk to within a relevant manner is going to amplify your brand within that target audience. So essentially how we go about this is you essentially need to look at, as a brand, where am I present already? Where am I already having client conversations? For many brands in Cambodia, that is probably on TV, that's probably on Facebook, and that's maybe in store, for example, right? And based on that analysis, you need to look at, okay, so where else can I be having meaningful conversations with my customers in a manner that I can reach them and in a manner that I can measure it. And essentially that is where, again, what we were saying earlier, there are 21 million devices in the country and marketers are not taking advantage of that yet.
I see. Okay. So of course it's crucial for any marketer to understand how many consumers they can reach, right? Because it allows them to make smarter decisions on where they can actually spend their money on, right? So that will lead to minimizing the risk of overspending on ineffective marketing campaigns and actually help a brand create campaigns that will then profitable return on investment, right? Okay, so now let me turn my attention to the vendor now. What are some of the new tools a brand can use to expand their consumer touchpoints using reach?
Thank you for your question. There are many tools that can be leveraged by using reach. Through mass SMS or targeted SMS, we can distribute coupons, running survey, or offer rewarding as well as redemption. The same platform, it can be used as a gateway to connect to your existing customer by provide A2P application to personal or one-time password OTP, as well as notification or transactional messages.
See, okay. Now, looks like Reach is truly versatile to meet the various needs of any brand across many different sectors, right? However, there's also another pillar for marketing success. Apart from reach, awareness, it's also the engagement level between a consumer and a brand, right? Because brand engagement actually allows interacting in ways that provide value to the customers, with the goal of forming long-term relationships to increase, obviously, the prospect of having a sale transaction from the consumer. So Hubert, how do I get consumers to engage with a brand? Is digital reward all that alluring to the Cambodian consumers after all?
Yeah. So I bet today everyone who is watching this video, and if they have a marketing position, they would have a KPI around engagement, right? For every brand, that is super important, and with right? It is an important metric to look at, right. So it is something that marketers are chasing, and one thing that you should observe and think about is basically, okay, so how do I drive engagement, right? Is of course the right kind of content. We spoke earlier about data and analytics that can help you to reach the right audiences. But at the same time, if we look at local data, there's been a recent study by Kantar. The study is called Connected Life. It was a global study, and Cambodia was part of it. And one of the questions that they seek answers for was, how likely are you to give a brand information or engage with their content if there is an incentive for you? Cambodians were the world number one, right? 61% of them said, I am willing. So basically that whole rewarding system and incentivization is at the core of Cambodian culture. And that is exactly why we built what we call digital rewards into our Reach platform. Essentially, what you can do is you can run campaigns and you incentivize your consumers if they do a specific action, if they fill up a survey, or if they click a link, or if they watch a video, or whatever your objective is for that campaign. And digital rewards it can be telco based, so you can offer anything from the telco in terms of a data pack, 1 GB of data, or talk time, or if you say, hey, I have something as a brand myself that I want to give out, a sample or whatever it is, then you can do that as well. We think it's a very powerful way to drive engagements in the Cambodian market.
Yeah, because a rewards program in anywhere in the world, they actually help build customer loyalty, right? It also deepens engagement between the brand and the consumer, and it also serves as a marketing benefit where a brand can use to attract even new customers.
Yeah.
Right. So now in our work as in a marketing services company, where we do a lot of above the line and even below the line activities. So how can a brand combine reach with offline marketing campaigns? How can it be measured?
We other market where ADA operation reach, we have done integration. We have done integration media with ADL and BTL. Thanks to our capability, we can reach customer at a precise location at any time. As an example, we have just recently done the campaign with one FMCG, whereas they have run a TV show where they have been a sponsor for this TV show. And the campaign objective is to get the vote at the precise location where the people stay to get the finalist or the champion.
Okay, interesting. Eh? So how can we be more situational or even action-based using mobile? Is real-time factual, or it is just a technological trick?
Yeah, though some people might think it cannot be possible for the real time, but let's think of it like this. With Taco Data Analytics, we can reach any one SIM card at any time at any location.
I see. Okay.
As another example, we just have completed one campaign with the largest electronic brands. So the objective is to target those people who are nearby their brand where they have promotion. With our capability, we have reached to 1 million people, and then we have them to try 200K promotional redemption.
Okay.
This is very big number.
Okay. So yeah, because this is what we call real-time marketing, right? And it actually offers a solution to help brands break through the clutter, right? It also enables marketers to adapt the messages to specific context and also to specific audience, right? So what I'm trying to say is that real-time marketing actually cuts through the noise and allow business to connect with people at the right place and at the right time, right? So therefore, it creates an overall unique consumer experience, between the brand and their customers. So let's discuss, right, some tips about improving consumer experience. Hubert, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, look, Jimmy, I think consumer experience is the most important thing for any brand, because brands, they exist by the mercy of the consumers, right? So they should be focusing on that. Similarly, I think if I look at the local market here, I think consumer experience, or CX as some people call it, is underutilized. I think there's a very big focus on getting consumers on board in terms of talking to them on digital media platforms or getting them to in the consumer funnel. But what happened next, right? So I think it's very important for brands to identify and to have a look at, okay, so what happens between a first brand interaction, whether it's in store or maybe an impression online, to actually that person buying my product. What is happening in between? What kind of touch points are there? Are they consumer friendly? If I were a consumer, would I actually go through the funnel and actually convert as a customer? So I think that focus is very important. So it's not just about getting consumers onto your websites or into your stores, but what happens next? And basically, as a brand, take control of every touch point that you have with a customer. Right, so we spoke about earlier about how Reach can help in terms of raising awareness or driving leads or gathering clicks. So basically, the whole marketing piece. But actually, it can help as well from a CRM perspective, right? So basically, when they become your customer and when they are in your system, we can actually, through APIs, we can automate SMS messaging to them as well. So think of it like this, where if, let's say you are an insurance brand and someone has just signed up for a policy, you can send them a quick message to say, hey, thank you for being a customer. Or for when the policy is about to end, you can say, hey, why don't you make an appointment with your agent to have a conversation, for example, right? So CX is super important, and we believe that Reach can basically amplify and ease out that journey for brands.
Now, of course, I think it's every company's dream, right, to be able to drive a consumer down the sales funnel, right? There is always emphasis on creating awareness at the top of the funnel, and then driving all the way down to conversion. Okay, but in reality, I think resources are definitely limited, right? Which is a company's worst nightmare, and even for any marketeers, right? It's the worst nightmare because they will never have enough budget to do everything that they want. So having said that, how can a brand or a marketer achieve its what do you call it? How do you plan the budget for the marketing campaigns?
I mean, that's a conversation that we are having on a daily basis with our customers. I bet any marketing player would, and I bet any marketer would have a KPI from their CEO to get a fantastic output, but the resources are limited, right? So you need to be flexible in that sense. At the same time, we are living in times that are economically difficult, right? There is COVID, there's a pandemic, and brands are reducing their budgets and their spends. Consumers are a bit more passive for certain industries in terms of, am I going to buy this product? So there's a lot of pressure. And the way we think about budget is essentially, we see it as an investment instead of a cost, as long as you measure the right things. So essentially, where earlier we were talking about, data, analytics, talk to the right people for your product. We believe that's where it starts, right? So it starts with reducing your waste. Talk to the people who are already likely to buy your product, and that can then reduce your budgets, right? That makes you more efficient, and all of that can be measured, right? So on a short term, and that's why digital is great, is because you can measure all of that, right? You can measure your return on investment. You can measure, okay, what did I spend on my marketing campaigns? Where did my consumer go? Did I actually get to engage? Did I get to sell my products? And what's the value of that as compared to my marketing investment at the beginning, right? So that's short term, it can be measured now. At the same time, on the long term, what is important for brands to understand is that even though times are difficult, you should be investing in your share of voice. You should not limit your reach only to very small audiences. And why I say that is because marketing studies show that there is a correlation between your share of voice, which is basically how many impressions and how many conversations you drive as a brand versus your industry peers, and your share of market, right? So if this quarter or this year you decide to reduce your spends and to reduce your impact as a brand more than your competitors, then you can expect that your market share next year will be less as well, right? So basically, on the short term, we spoke about digital and ROI and very much being efficient in terms of where do you place your media chips. At the same time, on the long term, you need to focus on your share of voice because it correlates to your market share and therefore your revenue in the future.
Okay. All right. So with that, I think we've come to the conclusion of our webinar, and we've touched on a few points, and I'd like to do a recap here. First and foremost, I think ADA, we touched on ADA being a data and artificial intelligence company that designs and executes integrated digital analytics and marketing solutions. We also discussed about ADA's Reach platform, where SMS can be hyper-targeted and relevant, achieving a wide range of objectives and various content formats that can be generated. We've also discussed about brand engagement, right, which is very important because it allows us to, for brands to interact in ways that provide value to the customers with the goal of forming long-term relationship, which ultimately hope to increase the prospects of sales transaction that we can generate from any brand's customers. Of course, last but not least, we've also touched on Reach being able to allow real-time and contextual marketing, enhancing the overall consumer experience with a brand. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to the audience for joining us on this morning's webinar. We hope you've benefited from the great insights about the advantages of the Reach platform. But before we leave the discussion this morning, gentlemen, any last thoughts from on this?
Look, Jimmy, I would say that as a marketer, you need to test and learn. Okay. Sometimes assumptions are not always too good, right? So what we would say is give it a shot, right? You need to test what works for your brands. You need to test what works for your audiences, and see whether it makes sense to do that for the longer term, right? So I would say start there.
Yeah, I think innovation is always a constant learning and adapting according to the changes in the market.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
How about you, the vendor? Any last
my final words is with Reach, we can bring you to the right audience and get you to the right customer.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so thank you, Hubert and the vendor, for this very insightful session this morning. So last but not least, please do get in touch with any of us and even the ADA Reach team to explore how Reach can be relevant to your brand and how it can actually amplify your marketing immediately. I heard that there will be special packages for attendance in this webinar, and what would that be?
That's right. All attendees will get $500 off their first Reach campaign with us.
If any of you who are attending this webinar this morning, you're getting special privileges for the Reach platform. So feel free to email us all your questions. The email addresses will be reflected in this video at the end of this video. So last but not least, I want to thank you for participating in this webinar, and we hope to see you again at the ADA's next webinar for ambitious marketers like yourself who are attending. So happy marketing, Cambodia.
Thank you.
Thank you.